Yo, what is good, YouTube? Krishan checking back in with another video. The 2022 Mr. Olympia did not disappoint across every single division. And in this video, I will be giving you guys my biggest surprises from this year's show. Now, let's start with the most obvious one. Former Mr. Olympia, Big Ramy, dropping from first place to fifth place. And it's still unbelievable that after prejudging, a lot of people had Big Ramy winning. A lot of people thought Ramy was put off to the side because he was untouchable. But I do have to give huge respect to Ramy. It's honestly tough seeing him drop down in placings because Ramy is such a nice guy. And going into this year's Olympia, the only pick that most people were comfortable about making was Big Ramy in first place. We had a few people that went with Brandon Curry, Hottie Chupin, but I'm pretty sure 80 to 90% of the bodybuilding world had Big Ramy winning going into this year's show. Now, what do I think went wrong? The main issue for me was the triceps. Big Ramy's already a bigger guy. He has big arms. But with him being so massive, his arms always looked a little bit small. And with the triceps being so down in size, I think it really threw off his proportions. Big Ramy has a great front lat spread and a back lat spread, but his waist is pretty wide and Ramy doesn't have much of a V-taper. No disrespect towards Ramy, but I have to be analytical about what I saw. Ramy dropping down to fifth place was unbelievable, but I'm glad the judges made the call. It was no politics. It's not very often you see a reigning Mr. Olympia drop down to fifth place, but Big Ramy was not at his best at this year's Olympia. But I do have to give him credit. Big Ramy pulling this slight vacuum in the front double bicep really caught my eye. And it's also possible that Ramy had the hardest glutes out of their top 5. He improved in some areas, but he also regressed in the triceps, the calves, and it seems like his back was a little bit worse. Ramy's posing the back double biceps a little bit different, and I think it gives the illusion that the back is thicker. That's my personal opinion. But it was very unfortunate seeing Ramy drop down to fifth place. He did already put out an official statement and said he's going to come back strong. Ramy has been sixth place before, second place before, and he's won 2 Olympia titles after that. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think Big Ramy should do in the future? Now, of course, we have no say-so in Big Ramy's life, but I still want to talk about it with you guys. And let's talk about another big surprise for me at this year's Olympia. Derek Lunsford, former 212 Olympia champion, taking second in this year's Olympia lineup. Now, in my predictions, I did place Derek Lunsford fifth. He has an incredible structure. But in the back of my mind, just being transparent with you guys, I always had a slight feeling that Derek may not be big enough. But then again, I didn't expect Derek to be 230, 235. I thought he was going to be 220, 225. But this guy definitely blew up. How do you put on 20 or 20 plus pounds of muscle in 1 year? This guy's an absolute genetic freak. But I was very happy to see Derek Lunsford in this second place position. It was definitely well deserved. And as I said going into this year's Olympia, Derek is a younger guy. The only thing he really needs is more muscle maturity. I feel like Hottie beat him because he had more detail in the chest and the shoulders. But once again, as Derek gets older, as he puts in more time at the gym, he will get there. Huge shout out to this guy. The future is very bright. Now going into the next biggest surprise. Andrew Jacked and Samson Dauda. Now, before I break down what I was actually surprised about, let me give these guys their flowers. I believe Andrew Jacked just had one of the best years in bodybuilding history. This guy just turned pro in March, went into a very competitive Texas Pro lineup and won, a very competitive Arnold Classic UK lineup and won, made his Olympia debut and took top 8. Samson Dauda made his Olympia debut, took top 6. Now, the biggest surprise for me, the judges did not favor conditioning at this year's Olympia. If you guys watch my videos going into this show, I said Ian Valier will beat Andrew Jacked and Samson Dauda because he will be in better condition. But I think the judges really made a statement placing these guys 6th and 8th. And from what I seen on the live stream, Samson Dauda and Andrew Jacked, in my personal opinion, they were the least conditioned guys out of their top 10. I feel like Brandon Curry and Hunter Labrada were in better condition at prejudging, at least from what I saw on the live stream. But even with that being said, these guys have 2 of the best structures in that top 10 as well. Do you guys think it's possible that we're moving towards an era where judges don't really emphasize striated glutes as much? Because Andrew and Samson had some striations, but not like we're used to seeing a top 6 or a top 8 guy have. And something I'm pretty sure surprised everyone was Terrence Ruffin placing out of that top 5 at this year's Classic Physique Olympia. And it wasn't really surprising that Terrence placed 6th, once you analyze the callouts. It was more surprising that Terrence Ruffin came in off. I've only been in the sport of bodybuilding for about 2 years. I don't think I've ever seen this guy come in off. And Terrence was looking incredible about 2 or 3 days out. If you guys remember in my news video, I said these are the best updates I've seen ahead of this year's Olympia. So I definitely think something went wrong with Terrence in those last few hours. Maybe when he missed weight, it played with his mind a little bit and that affected his look. But Terrence definitely looked incredible at 2 or 3 days out. And one of the biggest surprises to me at this year's Olympia was actually Erin winning the men's physique division over 3-time champion Brandon Hendrickson. And the reason this was surprising for me, because with the Mr. Olympia, you usually have to knock out the champion. And I don't think Erin knocked out Brandon Hendrickson. I believe Brandon won from the front, Erin won from the back. Both of these guys have incredible presentation. But as you guys can see before Brandon Hendrickson gets into this back pose, I believe this new posing routine actually took away from his physique, and he may have been marked down for that. In my personal opinion, it was just very distracting. But once you take a look at these guys from the front, Brandon Hendrickson just looks like the champion. I don't disagree with the decision. Erin has an incredible physique. I can see why he won the title, but usually you have to knock out the champ. It was a very close competition, so usually the champ will win, but I'm glad that the judges went with a better physique on this day. It was just unusual to see the champ lose and not get knocked out. But as always, have to congratulate Erin as well. But I hope you guys did indeed enjoy this video. If you haven't done so already, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you guys want to see me talk about anything specific from this year's Olympia, let me know in the comment section below. I'm Krishan from GOAT Fitness, and that's it. I'm out.